Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. That's Maddie, and we are back with our AFC NFC Championship recap. And we'll talk about Bill Belichick. We'll give you our yearly awards, and I'm sure Maddie's got something to say about Sean Mannion being the Eagles' new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, let's definitely get into that. We'll have some Coach Carousel updates coming up as well. And I think like the Eagles news going live straight away, it is interesting that they've finally got their offensive coordinator. I think the fact that Sean Mannion is an interesting point, but the fact it took them so long and so many people rejected the job is an also interesting point with the Eagles. But we'll get to that as we do the show. Yeah, welcome in, guys, to the show. It is good to be chatting to you again, and let's talk some NFC, AFC Championship reactions. In Jay, what I thought was a good championship round. I thought like there was some good football played in the NFC game, and then the snow and like the closeness and stuff in the AFC game made it exciting as well. But let's start in Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks took down the Los Angeles Rams to make their way to the Super Bowl. Jay, what was the main cause for the Seahawks beating the Los Angeles Rams in that game?
Actually, McVay got out coached, but once again, we have a game that more people are talking about the reffing than the actual game. And actually, I don't even blame the refs. I think they were completely wrong, but I blame the NFL. I don't think Cooper Kupp made the first down. Fine. Whatever. Plays get called. That was close. If they were off, I'm not blaming the refs. I'm blaming the NFL that this is even a story. All you had to do was go after replay. It's whatever the call is. I don't even care if you kept it the same. All you had to do was say you did an you did a review.
Extradited review.
Yeah, right. Expedited review. And nobody's having this conversation, and it takes away from a really good game that we all watched. And once again, the NFL figured out how to make it about something accidentally that it shouldn't be about. And that irritates me because we absolutely watched an exciting game to watch.
Yeah.
I think that oddly McVay got out coached. I think that was very strange to see. But hats off to the Seahawks. It was a great fucking game. I enjoyed watching it. And again, I turned on the TV the next day, and I thought we were going to hear about Sam Darnold. I thought I was going to hear about Tom McDonald. I thought I was going to hear about Jackson Smith and Jigba, who will get to some awards, but if he doesn't win one, he's definitely up there for me, but I won't spoil it yet. And I was going to talk about, McVay, is Stafford going to come back? This kind of thing. And no, I turned on the TV and they're like, did you see that reffing call? And I'm like, yeah, I think they got it wrong too. But that doesn't mean that I blame the refs as I do usually for this one. I blame the NFL for just not. And then them telling Sean McVay you can't challenge it, I thought was crazy, but that's really weird.
Yeah, with they said they can't challenge it because like they've already done the work on it and they haven't decided to change it anyway, right? They're
telling him he can't challenge it because he called a timeout, but we've seen it in previous times where you call a timeout, you challenge it, and then you lose a second timeout. And they told him he couldn't challenge it. And this is where I'm saying it's not the refs, it's the NFL. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. And I think with that point, it's what we were talking about with the refs the last time a little bit, where it's like, yes, the refs should take blame for getting calls wrong, but the NFL refuses to use technology, refuses to actually coach the refs, refuses to write like ref-friendly policy that like the rules are the rules of the game and this is what happens. Like there's so much interpretation in a lot of the rules. So like we were talking about it with the like no interception in the Broncos game in the previous round, and it was just all left into interpretation. But here we've been saying it for ages. Why are we measuring where the hell the ball is placed by old men on the sideline with some chains looking down the field as to where it goes? Like, we have the technology. There's other sports in the world that use technology that tracks the ball and where it goes. So football uses goal line technology. It would be the same tech. It would probably slow something down a little bit. Like they would probably need to move where the line is. It probably takes a little bit, but just just put another advert in there. No one will know. You take commercial timeouts for ads. Like, okay, like then we can slow down a game as much as we want to get the call right. So that's all they needed to do, and they just refused to do it. So that's a shame. But I don't think it should take away from the game. I think the media get hot on like the refereeing calls, and fans get hot on refereeing calls. But they like the NFL needs to fix that. The media need to not get so hung up on the fact that the Seahawks also got a call against them, which wasn't a bad call. It's just like that Reek Woolen taunting on the sideline rule, like the punishment. I don't mind the rule and I don't mind the call. The call was correct, but the punishment the rule itself seems to, like the punishment doesn't fit the crime, almost, of like a bit of taunting is a 15-yard penalty.
He absolutely has to do. I agree with you, but he absolutely has to know better. Like, he absolutely has to know better. 100%. And this is the NFC Championship game. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, I agree with you. But for me, it was a great game. Cooked. Yeah. Great game. McVay got out coached. And I don't want to say like the Seahawks didn't win that game or whatever. It almost felt like the Rams ran out of time, right? Like, it kind of felt like the game, if it was a little bit longer, I felt like, ooh, the Rams might have been a difference in there, because I think it made McVay make some bad calls, like the time up against the time. And I just never left a game questioning McVay the way I did. And I am not shitting on McVay, one of the greatest. It's just like, I was like, damn, that wasn't the most Sean McVay things I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I think with Sean McVay getting out coached, we're going to talk about Mike McDonald. I don't want to give away one of my awards already, but we're going to talk about him later in the show. But he was amazing on the defensive side of the ball too, even though like they gave up, 27 points. Like, what they actually did in that game was they stepped up in those big plays. They stepped up straight away. Congratulations to making it to the Super Bowl, Josh. Good for you, man. But with the Seahawks on the defensive side of the ball, I thought they were excellent. I thought they were really great. And I think the way that they use Nico Manwari and they play him in so many different positions, like he looks like Kyle Hamilton. Like they use him in the same way the Ravens use Kyle Hamilton on the pitch as well, and they just move him around. Like they always look they always look great defensively as they're going forward. As well. And I think the other reason that they won that game, the Seahawks, is as an all-round football team in terms of not making mistakes, the Seahawks have been better all season. Like, I've seen lots of stuff about Seahawks Patriots, one of the least deserving Super Bowls of all time. Like, and it's like, you just don't know the Seahawks have been playing great football all season because they play in the Pacific Northwest. And like, you just hate the Patriots because you hate the Patriots from their previous dynasty. But the Seahawks throughout the whole season have just played completely mistake-free football. And Jay, one of the biggest turning points in that game was something that has bitten the Rams over and over again. It was that special teams turnover. They were about to get the ball back in a period where they seemed to have the Seattle Seahawks defensive's number. They probably were going to go ahead if they got that ball back. They had the chance to go ahead in the game. And instead, they go in giving up a touchdown there, which then made Sean McVay have to play from behind. And then that's when I agree with you, his calls were a little suspect as well. So, Jay, surely the Rams have to be to blame for having shit special teams all year. Like, if you're all round, like, it's a third of the team, your special teams.
Yeah, and it's one of the problems I watch with the Vikings. Like, your special teams coordinator needs to go, and why are we still keeping them, and why are we not making changes? And when you have somebody, or when you have a side of the ball, well, there's three sides, but okay, you have a side of the ball that's causing problems, and you don't do anything to address it because it's not the offense or defense, is a problem to me, and that becomes a coaching issue. And I'm not saying you had to fire everybody, but you as the head coach need to go in there and be like, we got to fix this. And if you as the head coach have to go, we're doing this, this, and this, then that's what you have to do. But it feels like sometimes not enough focus is put on special teams when special teams can make or break the game because of field position and you can give up big plays and scores. And like, I just don't understand why not enough emphasis is put on special teams sometimes.
And I think you saw it in the game, right? Because the Seahawks punter, I think it's Dickerson, had a great game. He was amazing. The Seahawks punter changed field position several times. He's had one of the highest net average punts all season. And then on the Rams side of the ball, they're getting Turner. Like, it's not the first time in the season where they've had terrible special teams. So it's an all-round team game. I think that's why they lost. And then from that point, you know, they had an 11-point lead going into. They would have an 11-point lead going into the fourth quarter if it wasn't for that Reek Woolen incident on the sideline as well. And the Rams are playing from behind in that game, and I think the defense really bowed in the fourth quarter, which is great. Jay, moving over to Sam Darnold, has he silenced his doubters now? Like, he must have, he's the first from that 2018 class to get to the Super Bowl, right?
Sam Darnold goes in the Super Bowl and throws 3 interceptions. Everybody's going to say, I told you. So, like, no. But if he wins it, yes, or has a good game. I mean, he throws for 300 yards in the Super Bowl and no turnovers. They have to shut up, right? But no, you know how the talking heads are. No, he didn't silence anybody because half of those motherfuckers are just waiting for him to throw 2 interceptions in that game, lose it, and be like, I told you he can't play. So do I think it should calm it? Yes. But do I think it didn't? No, because fan stands for fanatic, which means we are always at some point going to be ridiculous when it comes to what we're seeing in the NFL.
Yeah, I was looking back at some of our old takes, Jay, and I was looking back at my Mike McCarthy take when he first came to the Cowboys and what I'm currently saying about Mike McCarthy now. What I'm currently saying about Mike McCarthy now, I think, Jay, is testament to us that we don't just have an opinion and that is our opinion and we're trying to force our opinion into every single thing in the conversation, which is what you see a lot of the time with these talking heads. Is what you see a lot of the time with these talking heads, and obviously with Patriots fans currently as well. But what you see with these talking heads is they have an opinion and then they're going to try and find a way to make their opinion work rather than just saying, okay, my opinion was wrong and moving over. And I think Sam Darnold, obviously, if he throws like 3 interceptions in the Super Bowl, like maybe it does deserve to come back up. But it wasn't just like he was getting carried in this game. That's the thing that people would have leveled at him if he throughout the other games in the playoffs, where it was like he didn't play well. It was the team that got them there. He was amazing in this game. Like Sam Darnold, he threw for 370 yards. He was their best player on the field. I think the narrative all year has been he can't do it in the big games, right? Like he fumbles under pressure. So if he folds in the Super Bowl, that's just going to give them the ammo they need to like peacock, right? And be like, look, my take was so brilliant that Sam Darnold, like, and instead of just accepting that every game is a different game, you know what I mean? You got to judge it over totality and not just one play or one game, one series. But again, we're fans, and then they all get caught up, and I do too, especially when I'm watching the Vikings live. If you guys were in our group chat, it's the end of the world after the first fucking series for me in the group chat. That's it. That's the fucking game. They blew it already. Like, I overreact too. I get it when you're a fan. It's why I'll never bet on the Vikings. Like, financially, I will never put money because I don't feel like I think clearly enough when it comes to it. But I just think that, you know, people always want to be right. And now, granted, they get paid and got a way bigger platform, but people like us, we take swings on what we believe. And when you get in the batter's box and you take a swing, you are going to strike out at times, and motherfuckers just have to own it. And if you look at the guys who are great at this, Skip Bayless, who I can't stand, but nobody can argue how great he was on sports television for a long time. Colin Cowherd, even Nick Wright, who I don't like, they get in the batter's box and make the ridiculous swings and whiff all the time, but they never have to be held accountable because Colin Cowherd especially will be like, yeah, I fucked up, move on. And he'll act like it never happened. He'll admit he was wrong, act like it never happened, and keep it moving. He'll admit he was wrong. But then if something shows he's slightly right again, he'll say, oh, yeah, I thought that the whole time. Like,
right.
If someone says, like, he's slightly right again, you know, he like, doesn't actually come off it.
Dan Orlovsky takes it on the shins but he says the shit he truly believes as of viewing it from a quarterback point of view. And you don't have to agree with him, but he's also the guy that gets on Pat McAfee and goes, holy fuck, was I wrong on that one?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, Sam Darnold has come out and scored. The Seahawks offense has scored 41 points against the San Francisco 49ers and then 31 points against the Rams in an NFC Championship game. So, like, you know, he can't hold it together in big games. Like, I do get it. And after what we saw, like with that kind of meltdown with the Vikings last year a little bit as well, it's like, okay, like this is all fair. This is all fair play. But for me, he's proving them wrong. And I think Colin Cowherd was a big Sam Darnold fan coming out of USC, like the whole time. Like he loves Sam Darnold, like coming out of USC. So now he's back on the thing as well. Like he's been saying it the whole time. As well, Jay, Sam Darnold is the first quarterback from that 2018 class. So Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, was Baker Mayfield in that 2018 class as well. But he's the first one out of that class to make the Super Bowl as well. And I know, like, it matters what team you're on, but I do think that holds some weight. Like, he comes out in such a great quarterback class, and he's now the first to make the Super Bowl out of those guys as well. Like, I feel like that does do something for his pedigree and, like, saying, okay, he can actually fucking play quarterback. Can we stop telling ghost jokes about Sam Darnold? You know, I'm not saying he's better than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that was about to be my question. Like, are we putting him above Josh Allen and Lamar? I was just asking.
Yeah.
No, the ghost jokes can never stop because you got caught on a hot mic saying it. I've said really it before. Funny. I don't blame him for talking to his teammates the way he did. You just happen to get caught on a hot mic, which now you will have to own forever. Like, if you get caught on a hot mic and you say something wild, that's on you.
Yeah, and I think with it, at least it's actually funny as well. Like, I want to see him, like, coming out and making fun of it, you know? Like, that would be the next level of Sam Darnold.
Well, anybody who says that he didn't play as a top 5 quarterback this year is delusional.
Yeah, exactly. Like, exactly. I thought
is he a top 5 quarterback overall? We don't know yet. Did he play like it this year? Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought Sam Darnold has had a good year. Jay, we kind of saw like loads of point scoring happening in the third quarter. Both teams scored 14 points apiece in the third quarter. It all came down to the fourth quarter where nobody scored any points whatsoever. Jay, what led to that shutout for like both teams? What happened there in the big moment to win the game? Both teams get shut out. What happened there? Hold
on. Rewind. I was laughing at Josh. What did you say? I tried to catch back up, but I missed the beginning. And
I was saying that there's loads of points scored in the third quarter. It was a very 31-27, great game. And then in the fourth quarter, when it's on the line, both teams shut each other out. What kind of led to that big shutout in the big moment there? How did the Seahawks come out on top and slow the Rams down?
So the Seahawks defense stepped up. Oddly, again, I just feel like McVay ran out of time because McVay made some weird calls in the middle of that game. But the reason I think that it stalled on the Seahawks side is I think they got real conservative real quick at the end of that game. And I think it almost cost them. And I think that's something they'll learn if they get put in this position in the Super Bowl, that you can't let up, because McVay was good. I mean, McVay was doing everything he could with his team to try to win that game, right? And there was times where you were like, could this happen? It kept you around, right? Because there was the idea that maybe this could happen. And I think they really got conservative, and I think it almost became a problem. But again, young coach will learn from this, and I think they'll put their foot on the gas next time instead of trying to get conservative and just play the clock game. I think they started playing the clock game way too early.
Yeah, I also think the Rams defensive line kind of bowed up. Like Sam Darnold was getting less and less and less time. was getting less and less time to throw the ball as well. I agree. They went super defenses, and you're right, Jay. If Sean McVay hadn't used his 3 timeouts already, when Puka Nacua makes that play in the middle of the field, you're like, if you have 2 timeouts, because he called that ball at about 20 seconds left. So 2 timeouts from the middle of the field would have given them something, would have given the Rams like something to play with there, because, you know, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are one of the greatest receiving pairs that have ever been put together in football. Like, that's just 2 ridiculously good wide receivers, and Matthew Stafford's arm is crazy, so they could do anything from midfield with 2 timeouts, really. So there's that play calling mistake from Sean McVay in terms of the timeouts. Also, the Rams made big mistakes in the last moment. You know, they made the Rams made big mistakes in the final moment. So Kobe Parkinson drops that catch. That would have.
Oh my gosh! I forgot about that till you said it. Yeah. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, total walk-in touchdown that he could have had. Should have been straight in for the touchdown, and then Sam Darnold has to go down the field and get the win. And then they also made the mistake on the, like, it's like fourth and 3, and actually the Seahawks make an amazing play because they look like they're about to bring pressure, and Kyron Williams leaks out into the backfield, and then a guy smartly, I can't remember who it was, smartly stops his pressure and then moves out to go get Kyron Williams, which is like, that's just genius whilst on the play. Like, that was not what he was meant to do. He was meant to bring pressure, but he clearly stopped and then went and covered that, which meant that Stafford has to throw over the middle, and Witherspoon breaks it up on a huge play as well. So the Seahawks made good plays, but the Rams made some mistakes as well. So yeah, and Jay, Seahawks obviously progressing through to the Super Bowl. The Rams now dumped out, but do you think the Rams can make a run next season as well? Like, I can't see why not, as long as Matthew Stafford doesn't retire, right?
I've been reading that they don't know if Stafford's going to come back. He's going to want to redo his contract. They're not going to want to pay him more. Are they going to let him walk or trade him? I think he comes back and they run it back again, and this is just all we got nothing to talk about week. But it all comes down to what's going on with Stafford. But yeah, and we've seen from that front office, they can reload with fuck them picks, or they can reload with give me those picks, I'm going back into the draft, right? So
yeah, right.
We've seen this front office maneuver whichever way they feel is the best to get to where they need to get. It is a lot of talk, though, this last year that Sean McVay is not going to coach forever and that he is going to retire pretty young. And if that's going to happen, maybe you do go into another fuck them picks and let's go try to get another one. Well, we have Stafford and Adams and Puka and McVay, and then worry about the rest after that.
I wonder if they do need to go into like fuck them picks territory, because as long as Stafford is playing, then you have McVay still as the coach. You still have Stafford. You have Puka for another year. You have Devontae Adams for another year. Actually, they've got a sneaky 2-horse backfield now there with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. Like, I thought Blake Corum made some huge plays this year as well. So you can see that.
Well,
maybe a bit of improvement on the O-line just for a bit more consistency game to game. But where they really need to fix is that cornerback room. They're too small at corner. Like, they have skilled corners who cover well. They're too small. So they need some bigger corners.
And Myles Garrett just let it be known he is not fucking happy with the new head coaching pick for the Browns, and we'll probably talk about that. But can you get him? Can you just say fuck them picks and go get you a Myles Garrett? Because Myles Garrett kind of makes up for any deficiencies you have on the back end, because he's going to be in that quarterback space, and you put him on that line with what they already got with Verse, and might be nasty. I don't know. Maybe you can get him out of Cleveland.
Yeah, Verse, Myles Garrett, and Brandon Fisk all in the same, all on the same defensive line. That's disgusting. But so they can go, and I don't know how many picks it would take to get out of there. That Myles Garrett contract, I'm sure, is making a lot of teams very wary about going in and getting.
I get that, but if you're playing fuck them picks, you can play fuck that cap and roll that thing
cap as well.
And roll it till it can't be rolled anymore. You know what I mean? I was actually thinking that.
I was about to say the same thing.
Literally thinking that. Let's get some Aaron Donald back. I was literally thinking, how long has he been out of the NFL now?
It's like 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so the Seahawks move on in that one on to the Super Bowl. I think the Rams are probably going to be one of the best teams in the NFL next year as well. Jay, the AFC Championship game was a very different style of game. The Denver Broncos versus the Patriots. The Patriots, they come out on top 10 points to 7. But Jay, what I don't get, Skull Curse is back.
Oh, it never left, baby. It never left.
The snow coming in from Minnesota as well. But Jay, what I don't get, just to start off, why were the announcers surprised at the snow? Like, wasn't all of the states covered in snowstorms that entire time, and you're in Colorado? Like, surely
it was supposed to be flurries, and you can see Sean Payton didn't realize it was supposed to be that thick, but somehow Vrabel did. So I'm not exactly sure all of that. But I know Sean Payton lost him that game, and it makes me feel real warm and fuzzy inside that Sean Payton is the reason they lost.
Go on, then. Why is Sean Payton the reason that they lost?
You kick the fucking field goal when there's no snow. You kick the fucking field. But no, your dumb ass goes for it on 4th down and gets stopped, and then you never score another fucking point, and then you lose by 3 because Sean Payton lost them that game. I fucking love it. It makes me feel so good inside.
Yeah, I think with Sean Payton going for it on that third, I kind of got it at the time because you're on a roll with Stidham, but then by not getting any points, you just completely kill all momentum just immediately. So you may as well just like roll the momentum by coming back every time you get into the red zone. You have to come back with points. Like that's what we all knew this was going to be a low scoring football game. Like we all knew that. So like you had to come back with points like every time. And they turned down the points. And if you knew that it was going to snow later, even if it says flurries, you never know with snow. Like I find snow is like the least predictable, right? So like a flurry can turn into a blizzard pretty fucking quickly. And like if you knew that that was coming at all, then you should have just kicked that field goal at the time as well.
Well, Gate. This sets up for the Patriots to do the most amazing thing. They can beat 4 out of the top 5 defenses in the playoffs and Super Bowl by beating the Seahawks and winning the Super Bowl. They have went through 4 of the top 5.
Yeah, what was that run? So they've played Texans, Broncos, Seahawks, and then do the Chargers. How the Chargers count as a top defense? I guess.
They were rated top 5, so that's all I can tell you in the ratings. So
okay,
they're going to be a team that had to go through 4 of the 5 to get to a Super Bowl. If they do that to me, because you're already in a legendary organization, that takes Vrabel and Drake Maye up to a level that above just being a Super Bowl champ. Like you did something amazing that has never been done before, which is really cool if you like greatness. It's really bad if you hate the Patriots, right? So those people who hate the Patriots, that's just another shit sandwich they have to eat.
Yeah, I think with the Patriots run, so the Patriots have what was it? It's like the 3rd easiest regular season schedule of all time, or like something like that. And it's like that you just play who's in front. You just play fucking who's in front of you,
and they're all professional football players who get paid. Yeah. We watch shitty teams beat good teams all the time. So, I find that crazy.
I would also say the shitter, like the top level of the league is maybe not necessarily as good as it's always been. But the shittest teams in the league are much better than they're much better. Like I remember when I first started watching football, I was like, okay, there's teams that are just going to get blown out 50 points to 0, like when you're going through. So I feel like the actual bottom of the league is better than it's
the parity is way better.
Like it's far closer as well. So I think like that. Technically they have the easiest schedule, but it also doesn't take into account like when you play these teams. Like I've never understood strength of schedule determining like position.
Because the problem is once you get to strength of schedule, you've already been through like 3 or 4 tiebreakers.
Yeah, exactly. So what, like, once you're there, like, I know that's shit, but like, it's like strength of schedule and stuff like that. I really don't understand the whole like strength of schedule reasoning, because it's about when you meet those teams, right? Like, if you meet the Chiefs when they're playing Patrick Mahomes versus when you meet the Chiefs when they're playing Chad Ludican, like that's different. That's a different prospect that you've got to go up against there in terms of the strength of schedule and all of those things.
Ask the Packers how easy the Browns are.
But yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Ask a few teams how easy the Browns are. If they had an offense, you would have been in trouble. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
Unless you're playing the Raiders fucking 16 times, I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, like you play the Ravens in a game where they have Lamar Jackson versus a game where they don't have Lamar Jackson. Like you play the Bills in a game where they have Joe Burrow versus when they don't have Joe Burrow. Like it's totally different. So it's this strength of schedule bullshit going through, and then people say, oh, well, CJ Stroud fell apart. They played Jared Stidham. It's like, well, CJ Stroud fell apart in part because of the Patriots defense.
Yes,
right? Like the Patriots defense is very good. And they're the most underrated defense in the league, I think. And Jay, where you're saying Sean Payton is the reason for them losing, I think Sean Payton is the reason for them losing for a totally different way. The Broncos could not run the football whatsoever. And it's because the Patriots have an excellent defense. And it means that Jared Stidham had to go beat them because they just couldn't run the ball. And the issue with that with Sean Payton is they haven't really been able to run the ball since J.K. Dobbins was out all season due to a total lack of creativity in the run game. Like, if you're going up against this Patriots front, don't run up the middle. Like, you can't. It's impossible to run up the middle against this defense with Milton Williams. Like, it's just not going to happen. So they need to get to the outside. They need more creative plays, and they just didn't put any creative plays on whatsoever. So I think Sean Payton is to blame because of that, and I think the Patriots deserve to go through. Jay, this is kind of in the same thing of what we were talking about, but how much can we take from Drake Maye's performances in this postseason? They've not been great in terms of the numbers, but those defenses kind of negate that, right? Surely.
Yeah, and are we faulting a guy for putting up a couple touchdowns and throwing for less than 200 yards when that's all it took for them to win a game? You know what I mean? At times. And this team is not set up for Drake Maye to carry them, which it should not be. They're a well-rounded team. They have two-headed running back. They have solid receivers with really good tight ends. They are set up to come out, play defense, smack you in your fucking mouth, let you know that they were there. This is a Vrabel team. They just happen to have a quarterback who, if he needs to, can do some superstar shit. But if the Bills would build their team like this for Josh Allen and stop making him do Super Bowl shit all the time, we might see a different Bills team and different Josh Allen. This is exactly how you should coach your superstar quarterback. And anybody who at this point does not think Drake Maye is a superstar quarterback has to explain to me why. I literally need to know why.
Yeah, and I think like people who say things like this is the two most undeserving Super Bowl competitors that we've ever seen doesn't understand what the league is now and has been for a couple of years. The league is about creating teams, football teams. The reason the Eagles beat the Chiefs in the last Super Bowl is the Eagles team roster, Howie Roseman just put it together as a whole team. So it's a totally different understanding of what the NFL is. And people are using like the stat of Drake Maye threw for 173 yards against the Houston Texans. So like, yes, he only threw for 173 yards, and I think he only threw for less than 100 in this game against the Broncos as well. But James, the only person this season to throw 3 touchdowns on the Houston Texans. Like, it's a complete like non-realization that Houston Texans defense could go down as one of the best defenses of all time, like with the way that they've put it together. And he threw 3 touchdowns, the only person to put 3 touchdowns throwing the ball on the Texans all year.
What more do you ask of a quarterback than 3 touchdowns also, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we more worried about touchdowns or passing yards? Because it's not Drake Maye's fault, I guess, if you want to use that word, that his defense and special teams gets him good field position, and that he's got running backs that can help out in the game plan. I don't understand these arguments. And then when anybody who uses this Denver game, like they literally had 2 quarters to throw the football. What the fuck was anybody going to do in that? And again, I know people don't like this, and it's weird that the old guy's the one saying it. Everybody should have a fucking dome.
I like the difference.
2026. It should be a fucking dome.
I know. I think it like brings stuff, but it's one of my favorite things about the NFL. Those like snow games, because that game gets called off. Like in the UK, that game's called off. They're not playing it. In other sports. So with the, but with that and with Drake Maye, like the visibility. So like the British broadcasters, they had a person there. We don't normally get a person at the stadiums, but for the playoffs, we get people at the stadiums and stuff. So you had a person there, and they were basically just saying like, I can't see 10 yards in front of, like I can't really see most of this game. Like we're all just watching the game on the TV. Like
well,
on the massive TV.
We in the Midwest, we drive in that, right? You know, we leave the house and we go out into the world in that kind of weather. Exactly. Like, and in Latvia, like it's the same. Yeah, I bet it.
But it's just like with the passing game, it's like obviously they can't pass the ball in this. No one can see anything. Like, you know, and I remember I was saying to my dad, so Jared, when the Broncos just stopped having any ability because they couldn't run the ball. And I remember saying to my dad, like, they may as well just launch one downfield and just see what happens, because it's not only hard for the wide receivers to catch the ball in this weather, it's impossible for the cornerbacks to catch the ball in this weather as well. So you may as well just see what happens. And with these like sticky ass gloves that all the wide receivers have got, like something Mike
or the pass interference
or the pass interference that you could get, you may as well just like throw the ball down the field. And the next play, Jared Stone drops back and throws it directly to the cornerback. Like takes a shot down the field. He misses his first attempt down the field, and then he takes another shot down the field and throws it right miles away from his wide receiver, right to the cornerback, and that just ends the game right there. So yeah, great play calling from me. Jay, on the other side of the ball with the Broncos, looking at their quarterback position with Jared Stitton's performance in that game, where I thought he was okay to start off with, and then he had that mad fucking turnover where instead of taking the sack and losing 5 yards, he decides to try and not take the sack and throws it away. And it's just like, okay, cool. You're a backup quarterback. That's why you're not going to get signed for a team next year. Basically that play. Does that performance grow Bo Nix's stock? Will people have like a new respect for Bo Nix after watching that?
Maybe, but I know that Bo Nix and Sean Payton are in a fucking squabble through the media right now over his injury. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out, because Sean Payton comes out and says, oh, his ankle was some generative thing that was going to happen regardless. And he comes out and he's like, no, it isn't. That dude doesn't even know how many surgeries I fucking had. I'm like, I like that there's this little rift in Denver, not because I hate the Broncos, because I fucking hate Sean Payton. And so I hope he never wins a game again. But if anybody thought Jared Stidham was going to come out and play like Bo Nix, like I said, we already know Bo Nix is an NFL quarterback. We just don't know if he's elite. And he still has the chance to be elite. That's just the only question we have at this point. We know he's an NFL quarterback.
It's just when you see these guys like in the media talking about Bo Nix, it's just like, oh, he's not that good. He just has a Sean Payton system. It's like, what wide receivers is Bo Nix throwing to? Please. Like Patrick Surtain is his best wide receiver. Okay, Patrick Surtain is a number one wide receiver in this league. Just. Like, you know, like he's on the edge.
Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, sorry, Colin Sutton. I mean, Patrick Surtain might have better hands.
And everybody knows that Maddie knows who Patrick is, because he's still got some deep down resentments that he's not a Cowboy.
Now that Micah Parsons is not a Cowboy anymore, missing out on Patrick Surtain makes me feel bad. But yeah, like I remember when we were watching that thing live and I was like, Patrick Surtain's going to be there, and then he gets taken the pick right before. But, you know, we got Micah Parsons out of it, so that's fine. But with Yeah, so he has Colton Sutton, he has like Franklin, and it's not a great wide receiver core he's thrown to. They don't really have a great run game. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. So that's going for Bo Nix. But Bo Nix makes these huge plays like every time. Like every time a question's been asked of him, he's made a huge play to take them to this point. And then you see what the Broncos offense is without him. I don't see how you could look at Bo Nix now after watching that game and not think, oh yeah, Bo Nix makes a big difference for this Broncos team. Having him in there, that makes him at least top 15 to top 10 in the NFL, right? Like immediately. Like he's immediately in that.
Yeah, we all know he's a solid quarterback who can make plays, and when they release him at the end of the game, he's way better than at the beginning of the game. My only question is, bro, can you put this team on your back and carry him? But I know you're an NFL quarterback. I know you're solid, and I don't think that they should be looking for a new quarterback or anything. I just don't know if he's elite yet.
Yeah, and Jay, going into next season, obviously – the Patriots have one more game to play. They're going into the Super Bowl, but going into next season for the Denver Broncos, what do we think of them next season? How do we think they're placed? Obviously, you still got the skull curse overhead, but pretend the skull curse doesn't exist.
You can't.
Yes,
you can't. It's a thing, and it absolutely matters. And I still think they'll be a good team. I still think they'll make the playoffs, and I think Sean Payton's heart will get ripped out of his chest again, just like when he was with the Saints and the Rams tackled their fucking player in the middle of a play, just like the Minnesota Miracle, just like him not being able to collude and go to Miami with Tom Brady, and just like his bad coaching that cost him in this game, I think his heart will get ripped out in the playoffs.
I think it's one of those. I think they're one of those teams where like that division is going to be so interesting. Where that division is going to be so interesting, like, you know, Kansas City Chiefs, you imagine will be better next year. You have the Chargers, who
will they?
You know, they should. You would expect
Mahomes isn't going to be right all year.
Yeah, that injury. I keep forgetting about Patrick Mahomes' injury. Actually, like, okay, maybe the Chiefs won't be better next year, but you know, you have the Chargers still probably progressing a little bit more.
Oh yeah, they'll be better.
Will they have their tackles for the entire year? Like, who knows? You have the Raiders, who are going to have Mendoza probably, and we'll see if they get any better from that point. And then you have the Broncos. So it's an interesting division with a lot of storylines coming out of it. I think the Broncos make it back to the playoffs, and their defense, I don't think, is going to take much of a step back, which is what kind of will get them through a lot of the time as well. So we'll see. Maybe we'll see them in the playoffs again. I think they're in a decent spot. And Jay, do you know what hits a decent spot? A cup of coffee. A cup of coffee always hits the spot with us. And you can support us on the channel. And we really thank all you guys for watching and getting involved in the comments. We really appreciate it. But if you would like to support us even more than you already are doing, then you can buy us a cup of coffee.
Me and Jay set up the Yankee and the Brit nearly 5 years ago. And in that time, we've gone up to about 7 shows a week. And with the help of our loyal community, we've been able to keep growing. But we want to grow even more. And that's why just giving $5 or £5 could really help us out in our Buy Me a Coffee fund. And all you have to do is hit the Buy Me a Coffee link in our YouTube descriptions. That'll be on every single video. You can give £5, $5. You can give it once, you can give it every month. And what that does is it allows us to grow and even buy ourselves a coffee every once in a while.
Yeah, guys, so if you want to support us, then you can head to the QR code in the top of the screen, or there's a link in the comments as well. Any support that you give through that link goes straight back into the channel. We don't like pay ourselves with any of it, but it just goes straight back into the channel. So we really appreciate it. But the best thing you can do, guys, is hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. We do these shows every week, sometimes 2 a week when it's in the regular season. So come join us for those. And guys, it is now the end of the season. We'll be talking about our fantasy football league for next season coming up soon. So if you ever want to sign up for that, then you can keep a lookout on that. It's always a fun fantasy football league that we've got with the Yankee and the Brit. But Jay, let's move on to
Maddie,
some go on.
I just started looking for a new ring for next year's fantasy football. So anybody who's interested, if you win our league, it's free to join. You get a championship ring. So just so you know, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and I will post coming into next year when we're getting ready to do those fantasy football leagues. No, it's a free league. There's a lot of shit talking. We have a great group chat, and the winner gets a Yankee and the Brit fantasy football ring. And I believe this is going on our 6th year, or is our 5th?
6th year, yeah.
6th year.
And obviously, you guys are playing for your country, because at this point, the only winners have been British the entire time we've had it. So
I agree with Rubbles and with One Ton Tomato. Cam Chancellor was that guy. I don't think he could play in the NFL right now. I think they'd find the shit out of him, but Cam was that guy. Yeah.
He'd struggle to play in this NFL like guys like him.
We buy a big ring, and you're going to have to get that shit sized on your own if you want to size. But the first year I gave out a championship ring trophy, but then we just went to the ring because I thought it'd be cooler to just have championship rings, and then they're not as gaudy, and you don't have to find a place to put a dumbass fantasy football trophy.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, you can come join us with that, and always come and join us with the channel as well. So, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to some news now, and we're first starting off with Bill Belichick. So, Bill Belichick has been snubbed by the Hall of Fame for his first ballot Hall of Fame pedigree. Jay, do you believe that Bill Belichick is a first ballot Hall of Famer?
If he's not, nobody is. Nobody. And then they need to find out who the fuck these 11 people are and take their votes and never let them vote on shit again. And if somehow Robert Kraft makes this Hall of Fame and fucking Bill Belichick doesn't, what the fuck does that say? This whole thing is a fucking joke. Does that mean Tom Brady's not a first ballot Hall of Famer? The greatest quarterback to ever fucking live is not a Hall of Famer, first ballot? If Bill Belichick with 8 fucking Super Bowl rings is not a fucking Super Bowl, or a first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't know who is. The whole thing is insane to me, and it delegitimizes everything. Oh, see, I'm with it. We got that in the comments. It literally delegitimizes everything with the NFL Hall of Fame's voting. Not the Hall of Fame, because those people are great and they try to do something awesome for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the people who run it. The fact that they let writers vote on this has to stop. It has to.
Yeah, and I think, as well, you kind of get your Hall of Fame seat for life, by the sounds of it. When is that? But in what walk of life does giving someone a vote for life ever work? There's no place. We can talk about it a lot, but there's nothing where a vote for life has ever come out.
And then you have a guy like Tom Pelissero, who I'm not even the hugest fan of because he carries the NFL's water, but he gives you good information, right? He had a vote. He comes out and makes a negative comment a couple years ago about the voting system, and then they take his vote away.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a cartel, the Hall of Fame, and it's
not the Hall of Fame. I hate putting those people in it who run the great Hall of Fame organization. It's the voting system they have set up that is flawed.
Yeah, and I think it's that thing of, people started to say things like, "Oh, is it just becoming the Hall of Very Good?" And I'm a bit like, well, hang on, it's just. There'll be players that we found from previous years that are only very good as well. It's just as you play longer, the hall has to grow more and more. Right, that's going to happen.
And they're only allowed to elect 5 of them in, right, every year. So it's not like they're and at some positions there's a backlog of people. We accepted, even though we didn't love it, that Chris Carter didn't make it in the first ballot as Vikings fans. We accepted it and didn't love it that Jared Allen made it, but not on his first ballot. We get that. Okay, Chris Carter should have honestly been in there on the first ballot. We accepted that. But you not letting Bill Belichick in is crazy. Yeah, I was just going to actually say, Josh, it is not like the NBA Basketball Hall of Fame where your cousin's neighbor's sister is in there because they knew a guy who won a championship. Like, the Basketball Hall of Fame is ridiculous. This is the NFL Hall of Fame, and you're not letting the greatest coach who ever lived. Gosh, my buddy, Manny, I knew I'd have a feeling, but the way this makes me literally like kind of, it's not angry, it's sick inside. That this like is going on is crazy to me.
Yeah, so in the NFL Hall of Fame is currently rejected in their first ballot the guy who has the second most wins of all time, the most playoff wins of all time, and the most Super Bowl rings. Not even including his ones as a coordinator.
Giant.
He's still got the most as a head coach as well. And I think what some people have said, the whole thing with Spygate and like all of that kind of thing. But if you take all the stuff from Spygate away, like all the stuff before Spygate, so his career post 2008 is still a Hall of Fame career. That's what's so mad about it. He has 2 Hall of Fame careers, and he's not in the first ballot as well. And there is no clause in the NFL Hall of Fame like there is with the Baseball Hall of Fame, I believe, where it's like a morality clause where like I'm not a baseball guy, but like Barry Bonds isn't in it because of some like misdemeanors or something. Like I don't really know the story, but like there's a morality clause in the Baseball Hall of Fame. There's no morality clause in the NFL Hall of Fame. It's just, are you good?
Josh, big fan of you, but I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm not throwing that up on the screen, buddy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm not throwing that one up. But I see you. I just want to let you know I see you, but I can't do it. Maddie, too, but you also had Jimmy Johnson come out and say, we all did Spygate. It wasn't just Bill Belichick. We
exactly.
all did that. So, okay, go on. Sorry. That's just making me crazy.
I think as well, like, you know how we always say with just go back and rewind to the start of the show. We talked about the Seahawks first up, but with it's like what we say about the coaching, right? Like what we've been saying about the coaching, you realize if you're a great coach, if you get fired and you walk straight into another job immediately. And with this, it's like Bill Belichick hasn't been let in, and every star and every media thing and everyone is like kicked off about it. Like LeBron James tweeted about it and said how terrible it is that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
See what JJ Watt said yesterday on Pat McAfee.
Oh, what did he say?
No, it was 20 minutes of him going off about this. So,
yeah, exactly. So I think it's ridiculous that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Like, did I like Bill Belichick? No. Is he the greatest coach of all time? Yes. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? And there's some sort of backtracking now, and they're trying to say like, oh, it's because there was people who we wanted to get into the Hall of Fame who were on their last attempt to get in.
I don't care.
It's like, but then it's not the Hall of Fame. If they've taken this amount of time to get in there, then I'm sorry, they maybe just shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Like, like
it's not the Hall of Very Good, okay?
Yeah,
and there is 2 levels to the Hall of Fame. There is Hall of Famers, and then there is that upper room that Dion talks about, a first ballot Hall of Famers. And to take that away from Bill Belichick because you didn't like how he talked to the media, because you didn't like how he was on to Cincinnati, because – you think that he did something with Spygate, whatever. Okay. Man, it's ridiculous. And everybody who knows football from the greats, I'm not talking me and Maddie. I'm not talking about the guys on TV talking. I'm talking the greats. The Hall of Famers themselves were pissed off when they heard this.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy said he's not going. That's right. Josh had a good
exactly.
point.
And they, and then they let this seep in, Jay, where we have this kind of, oh, we want to get guys in who deserve it, or we want to do all of this. You can it makes you not trust in the Hall of Fame anymore. And one thing as sports fans that we all do is try and compare different eras, and you say, well, this guy's a Hall of Famer, like this guy's a Hall of Famer. Well, how much does that actually mean now? And Jay, it's the same with the Pro Bowl. So let's chat a little bit about the Pro Bowl right here.
You mean that Shador's a Pro Bowler? Let's go.
Yes. Shador Sanders, who threw more interceptions than touchdowns this year, is a Pro Bowler. So what do we mean by Pro Bowler now? And I think I think it was Nick Wright who said this. Nick Wright came in and basically said, like, we just need to have you select the Pro Bowl team, and those guys are Pro Bowlers. Yeah, those guys are Pro Bowlers. That's what we got. Like, you select the Pro Bowl team, and then you know, if you play in the Pro Bowl, like fucking dodgeball things and stuff like that, it's like, you attended the Pro Bowl, that's great for you, but you're not a Pro Bowler. Like, I think that's where we're at, because I think they went through like Shador Sanders getting included, and it's like, you know, because Drake Maye's at the Super Bowl, and then like
it
and
is.
then it's
It
like,
went down the list, and Shador got some votes because from the fans because he's Shador, so it got down there. But this is just, the Pro Bowl has become a joke. And you and I don't remember how many years ago it was, Maddie, but it was at least 3. We're talking about how you should just name a Pro Bowl team like you do all pros, and then let any player who's not in the Super Bowl that wants to compete in these challenges and just have a whole weekend of challenges. But now the Pro Bowl got so weird. My wife and I watch these challenges, and I know people hate them, but I'm like, I think it's kind of fun, right? If you're not going to have that, I'm not watching the boring ass Pro Bowl game, but I'll watch this flag football and dodgeball and best catch, all that shit. My wife even she doesn't like sports. She even gets into these types of things because it's like Beast Games to her or something. I don't know. But why don't you just have a big weekend of that? And now it's on a fucking Tuesday. What are we doing? Now it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Yeah. Like, what is going on? Yeah, I'm just saying, let's have some fun with it. Let's just name a Pro Bowl team. Drake Maye Pro Bowler, so-and-so Pro Bowler, right? And then you don't have a game. They get their bonus, their Pro Bowl bonus. They get their Pro Bowls to help get them into the Hall of Fame. And we don't have 14 alternatives.
Because a lot of their contracts depend on Pro Bowls, but in the contract it's stipulated like name to the Pro Bowl first up, not as like a Pro Bowl alternative. Like, you know, that's a great idea, but like not as like a Pro Bowl alternative, you know, like that doesn't count in their contract. So why does it count now? And they could do the bookmaking. They could go back and remove the Pro Bowls from everybody who's like had them as an alternate and all of those kind of stuff. They could get rid of that. I like the rising star idea. I think that's something that the NFL and just American football in general, as like a British person who grows up with like the football pyramid of like, if you play at the shittest league ever, you can still have dreams of making the Premier League one day.
Let's be real.
Things that get things up.
Oh, sorry, Maddie. Go ahead. Sorry,
go on. No, go on.
Let's be real. When it comes to NBA All-Star game, the Rising Stars game was always more entertaining than the actual All-Star game.
Yeah, exactly. So we have you have a Rising Stars game, you have those skills games, you have the skill games that they do with so I don't watch them personally. I watch them on like YouTube, some of them if I'm bored, but I'm not really bothered by them. But it's just like, it's the Pro Bowl for me. It's like Shador Sanders being given a Pro Bowl, and it's not like we've been big fans of like Shador Sanders coming in because like at least he gave the Browns something. But actually, Dylan Gabriel actually has a better statistical year than Shador Sanders had. Like, to be in the Pro Bowl. Like, he shouldn't be either, but like actually in terms of the statistical year, Dylan Gabriel was slightly better because he didn't throw more fucking interceptions than touchdowns. You know?
But Shador's going to bring eyes to the game, right? Like, people are going to tune in and watch Shador. So that's why I don't mind him being in it, but let's stop calling him a Pro Bowler. Like, he's not a Pro Bowler. Justin Jefferson could be in it if we just did stars of the NFL coming out to do things on this weekend and celebrate the guys who made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and I think if we did like, you know, like Aaron Rodgers would really be the alternate, but there's no way he's showing up to do any of that shit, you know, like, you know, so you discount all those guys, you discount all the guys that are injured, and it eventually makes its way down to Shador. So yeah, the Pro Bowl needs a big rethink. Jay,
well, the Pro Bowl really changed, and people don't realize this, because the late great Sean Taylor put a hit on the Pro Bowl that should never have been leveled on the Pro Bowl, but that was just Sean Taylor. And they were like, whoa, we got to calm down with what's going on at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. But Jay, there are lots of organizations that are trying to restructure and everything now, and we are in the full coaching carousel. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, for only the fourth time in their history, are hiring a new head coach, and they have taken Pittsburgh's own Mike McCarthy. People are saying this is just more of the same. How is this a move like that you've done to move from Mike Tomlin? Jay, what do you think of that?
How do they say it's the same when the Steelers have never had an offensive-minded head coach? Ever.
Yeah.
And they're not going to rebuild. They said they're not doing that. Art Rooney said, not a chance, not fucking rebuilding. If you're not going to rebuild, why would you bring in a young first-time head coach to build with? You're going to bring in a guy who can either get Howard or Rodgers or whoever's there ready to play quarterback. There is not a more friendly quarterback system than the West Coast system that's evolved into the McVay, O'Connell, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this is all coming from the original Bill Walsh West Coast system. We just watched it grow and evolve. I don't understand why you wouldn't want an adult in the room, and that's absolutely what Mike McCarthy is. Double-digit wins every year in fucking Dallas. I don't think he should have been fired. He was great in Green Bay for over a decade, won a Super Bowl, and they can say, yes, they wasted some of Aaron Rodgers' years, but I don't think it's on McCarthy. I think that was on Ted Thompson. I think it was on draft and they would only draft, and he would refuse to go out and get free agent guys to get you over the top. I think we're seeing a new era even after Ted Thompson and then Gutekunst. But now that policy is in charge, you'll see something different. I think that you're going to see that the Steelers have started that last year, that they're willing to move off of this just draft and develop. So if you're going to go all in on her and not rebuild, why would you bring in one of these young coaches? And if you're not going to bring in a young coach, who the fuck was better out there for your team than Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, and I think even with like they wanted to move in an offensive way, like the only real guy that they could have maybe brought in is Clint Kubiak, right? Like that's the one guy that you can bring in. Well, Clint Kubiak first would be a first time, like real first time.
Yeah, but I agree because of his father and different things, it makes it different.
Yeah, but you bring Mike McCarthy in. Mike McCarthy is a good offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy has a very similar record to Tomlin and Harbaugh, and like
him and Harbaugh are almost identical if you look down that thing.
Yeah, like he has a similar like everything. He just has worse PR than those guys. That's it. Like that's what happened with Mike McCarthy.
It didn't help that Rodgers dragged him in the media.
Yeah. But now Mike McCarthy will have coached the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Yes. So like there are different levels of jobs.
He has coached at the 49ers and the Chiefs too. If that is not the most historic franchises in the NFL that this guy has been at.
Yeah, and to coach those organizations, right? It's like, taking the Dallas Cowboys job, being the head coach of the Green Bay Packers is a different assignment than being the coach of the Tennessee Titans. Is a different assignment of being the Chargers or even, those sorts of organizations. To be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, and now the Steelers, they're different assignments. And you need a grown-up in the room to be able to handle like all the stuff that goes with that as well. It's like the head coach of Manchester United needs to be able to do a lot of different stuff that is different to what happens on the field of play. And that like the head coach of all of these great organizations and those kind of things, you have other stuff to do. So he's got experience in doing that. He's a good offensive coordinator. That's what people I think are missing a lot of the time with Mike McCarthy. Like when Mike McCarthy took over play calling from Kellen Moore, I didn't really love it at the time, but the Dallas Cowboys won more football games because Mike McCarthy called a much better game to aid his poor defense. Like he played the whole game. His time management is sometimes a bit shit, but otherwise it's good. So I do think that this is pretty different. I do think that this is different. I do think though, like you might have the same problem in terms of winning in the playoffs and all of those kind of things.
I think Maddie agrees with me. I think we both think Mike McDaniels needs to go somewhere else for a couple years, regroup, and come back into the coaching circuit. I just have a problem that he picked the Chargers and Harbaugh's going to run that but I think he'll be great for them. I don't think it was the best choice for himself. But then once you find out him and Vic Fangio fucking hate each other and won't work together again, because the Eagles, I was like, I don't know why you didn't take that job. And then I don't know why the Lions didn't bank
Detroit
McDaniel to go there. But I think McDaniel will be a head coach again. I just don't think it was this cycle was right for him after what went on in Miami.
Yeah, I think we worry about is like, you know, like his wife's from LA as well, isn't she? Or is he from LA as well? Like,
Maddie wants to bring soccer into shit. That's that British in him, guys. He can't help himself.
but the like Mike McDaniel's partner is from his wife is from LA as well. So I do think like sometimes there's that kind of stuff does fall into it more than we kind of realize as well. Like does his wife want to go live in Detroit over going and living in LA? I've heard Detroit's on the rise and everything. That's not me shitting on Detroit. It's just, you know, if you're from
it's cold as
if
fuck,
you're from
bro.
California,
yes,
if you're from California, like if you're from like where's he coached in LA and Miami? Or let's go coach in fucking like
just
let's
just to give an idea. I know it's Minnesota and not Michigan, but up here last week there was a day in Minnesota that hit with the wind chill hit negative 41 degrees.
Grim. Jay, somewhere where it's freezing cold and they've hired a guy who knows what the cold is up there. They've hired Joe Brady for the Buffalo Bills head coaching job. Jay, does this move make any sense to you? Like hiring from within the building?
It didn't at first. And so I was sitting here last night and I was watching that Netflix movie with Affleck and Damon, The Rip. And I was thinking about this. All right, movie, if anybody wants to watch it. I said that he's in there because McDermott threw fucking Bean under the bus in the media, so they were going to move on. But I have spent the last year saying teams got to grow some balls and fire their head coach and promote their offensive coordinator if you think the offensive coordinator is better than the head coach, a la it would have been hard after 15 wins, but Ben Johnson – Dan Campbell, different things. I don't think Detroit could have done it. I'm just saying, like, now you look at Ben Johnson and go, oh, maybe, right? So the Vikings should have did it years ago with Tomlin. I'm not going to crush the Bills. I don't know if I think this – I don't think this is the best hire. But you know what? After saying it for a year that these teams have to grow some balls, the Bills grew balls and did exactly what I think some teams need to do. So I'm not going to crush them.
I think my problem with this move is – it doesn't actually fix your problem that you had this season. So your problem that you had this season was your defense, and it is a very Cowboys move to do. But the other thing is the owner came out and said, like, Keon Coleman wasn't a GM decision; it was the coach's decision. Well, I don't think Sean McDermott was banging the table for.
No, I get that argument. It had to be Joe Brady. Yeah,
it had to be Joe Brady. So that's one reason. And then the other reason is the team was so devastated when I came in the locker room. But Joe Brady was still Joe Brady's the coach that was there as well. Like,
it's
Joe
because he can't come out and say you dragged my GM, so I'm firing you.
Yeah, I can't come out like he can't come out and say the GM is giving himself the brownest nose ever over the course of the past season.
I like that.
Well, you know, like he's a bit of a kiss-ass snake, I think, like from what I've seen. But like, you know, like he's done like this, like he's done this campaign, and then he can't come and say I fired Sean McDermott, like for emotional reasons. Like I got emotional and fired Sean McDermott, and I probably shouldn't have. That's what it stinks of this hiring. And look, I'm glad that they've got an offensive guy in there. I think that makes loads of sense to pair up Josh Allen with an offensive coordinator because Josh Allen's going to make your offensive coordinator a hot commodity for a long period of time. So I don't necessarily hate the Joe Brady move. It just doesn't make sense from why they said they were moving on.
I think if you bring in a defensive coordinator who makes that defense better, then you look like a fucking genius, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%.
I can't drag them though. I spent the whole last year saying teams got to grow some balls, and if you think your coordinator is better than your coach, than fire your coach and move on to your coordinator. And the Bills did it. I don't know if this was the scenario I was talking about, but I can't drag you for that and then drag you for doing it, right?
I think it's just I think it just doesn't match up with anything that was said, like on like why they fired Sean McDermott. Like that's all it is for me. Joe Brady might be a great head coach. We'll find out. I don't know, but like with with that move, it's a lot. Jay, the Cleveland Browns didn't take your advice. They didn't go for Jim Schwartz. They went for Todd Monken.
And now their whole defense is mad at him.
Yeah, go on. Hit up what you think of that.
Myles Garrett's fucking putting out tweets. Fucking, we get reports that the defense is pissed off. Schwartz might want out of there now. You took the best thing about your team and you turned around and you pissed off the guy who runs it. And then you pissed off not only some of the other players, but the best player on your fucking team. And then you call it a win. And then you don't go for one of the young guys. You're going to take one of the old guys and make him the head coach, which is fine. Monken's been up for jobs before. Okay. But this is a guy who's been on some pretty terrible offenses over the years. And if you're going to take an old coach, you got Jim Schwartz sitting right there. Like, I don't get it. And you pissed off. And then we find out this is why the Browns will always be the Browns and they will be dysfunctional, just like the fucking Jets. So Andrew Berry interviews all these people, and I think they're ridiculous because they're making them do essays and they're making them take tests. And I'm like, these guys are getting ready for playoff games and you want them to do fucking essays and tests? Like, what are we doing, right? But Andrew Berry, and they hire a consulting firm and they go all through this shit, and the consulting firm and Andrew Berry says, do not hire Todd Monken. And Jimmy Haslam goes, you remember what I did with Deshaun Watson? I'm hiring Todd Monken. Like, this is the shit. Yeah. I am at the point now where I almost think Stefanski coached to get fired just because he wanted out of there so fucking bad. Like, I am being facetious with that, but like, at what point do we just look at the Browns and go, you are such a dumpster fire and you are never going to get better because your owner keeps making football decisions? Yeah, and you're a Cowboys fan. You got probably the smartest owner when it comes to football decisions, and he needs to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the issue with Jerry Jones as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys is Jerry Jones actually does have a little bit of football knowledge. Like, Jerry Jones is actually okay enough for it to like not just be totally detrimental to have him in the building, which is shit because he also needs to like just not be in the building. But with the Browns, I thought this move was like a slightly grown-up move. I was like, like maybe if you're the Cleveland Browns, don't go after one of these young guys, like just because you need a steady hand. But really, the most grown-up move would have been for them to stay with Kevin Stefanski, and then the next grown-up move would have them to go to Jim Schwartz. So they somehow did a grown-up move in a very ungrown-up way. Like,
I don't have a problem with Monken. That's not my problem. It's the ownership's my problem. But yes.
Yeah, I also think the Browns have no chance of being a good offense no matter what they do. Like, no matter who they hire next year in terms of offense, like, they don't have talent on the offensive side of the ball. Like, Shedeur Sanders might be the guy. Like,
but even if he's not, you have a good running game. Yeah. You have a solid offensive line, and you got a really good number 2 in Jerry Jeudy, right? So go get you a number 1. Go get you the quarterback you think you're going to do. Simplify the offense. Put up 17 to 23 points, and your defense can win you fucking 9 games.
Yeah, and I think with Todd Monken as well, what's interesting with him is he has put up some bad offenses over the year, including the one that the Ravens served up last year. And then his years with Lamar Jackson have been the highest scoring offense in the league, throughout the entire time. So do you think that Lamar Jackson, like Shedeur Sanders, can do the same skill set as Lamar Jackson? No, not really. Like, that's not a good skill set match. Like,
I like Shedeur, but no, he is not on that level.
That's not. Well, it's just not that skill set either. Like, Shedeur is slow, I think, like, as well. So, like, you go get like a Malik Willis and trade like.
See, that's the guy this offseason that I am really interested to see where he goes.
Yeah, and someone will kick the tires on Shedeur Sanders as well if you're doing that. But it'd be big. Like, the Browns should keep Shedeur. Like he's the one like spark of lightning from this season. And look, if you play like shit, the quarterback class next year is meant to be pretty decent. So just play like shit and then draft the quarterback.
And if you're the Browns, your pathway gets easier since Joe Burrow's going to Minnesota. So,
that would be the craziest thing.
Wishful thinking, people in the comments, that is not a prediction. That is just me praying as a Vikings fan. And I like JJ, but like you give me a chance at Joe Burrow, there's not even a question. Like, let's go.
Yeah, Jay, final move we'll talk about before heading to our NFL awards ceremony is Sean Mannion is now the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I'd love that move. Go on, give us some.
So, yes, shit quarterback, played backup for a lot of years. But this is a guy who played under Vic Vay, has played under Kevin O'Connell, has been kept on teams because they said he's a coach in the quarterback room, right? He's more of a coach than a player. He was quarterback coach this year. I think it's a great move because you're bringing in a McVay. Sorry, I got to fly in here, guys. You got a McVay and you got Kevin O'Connell type system that you can bring in to that team. Get the best out of Jalen Hurts. You got Saquon Barkley. I mean, like, do people forget that Saquon Barkley's on this team because he had a down year? You know what I mean? Like, you got Saquon Barkley. You've got Smith. You either got AJ or whatever you get for AJ.
They probably don't have AJ, yeah.
I think maybe you have a Brandon Ayuk instead of AJ there. I mean, but whatever. You got an offense. You got Dallas Goedert. You got that great defense that can back it up. I think this is a great place for Sean Mannion. And as a player, as a former player, he's going to know how to work with the locker room, maybe try to fix some of this friction that's in that locker room too, because it seems like a lot of it's pointed at Hurts. They don't have to like Hurts. If Hurts starts playing great, the team won't hate him. Like, winning cures shit.
Yeah. And with Sean Mannion, it reminds me of like the Kellen Moore, like the Kellen Moore pathway. And look how well Kellen Moore's doing as the head coach of the Saints. Look how well he did as the offensive coordinator.
I'll answer that in a second.
Philly won a Super. Go on.
I was telling him I'll answer it in a second. Go ahead.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So with the so like Kellen Moore did a great job for the Cowboys, a great job for the Philadelphia Eagles, a Super Bowl champion with the Eagles as well. And it was that same. He stayed at Dallas as the backup quarterback because he was a coach in the quarterback room, and then got into the coaching with the Dallas Cowboys as well. So Sean Mannion has followed like a similar pathway to that. Obviously, we don't know what offense he's going to have, but I think we all looked at this and thought that surely is the most tempting offensive coordinator job out there because of the skill positions that you get as the Philadelphia Eagles head coach, offensive coordinator. But people have been rejecting it, like people outright rejecting it as well. Like it's not like, oh, we actually went for Sean Mannion. It's people rejected this job. Why do you think that happened? Why did you think
I didn't hear about anybody but Mike McDaniel, so I was going to ask you about that.
Dayball rejected it as well. Out of hand. And then
I think like a few people with that one.
Yeah, I think it's probably the right decision not to do it.
Dayball
took the Titans job as well.
I was really nervous for Cam Ward. I'm not going to lie. Like they're banking on what he did for Josh Allen, and I don't know if that wasn't so much just Josh Allen being Josh Allen and less Dayball, because I don't think he did Jackson Dart any fucking favors. But I don't know. I just besides McDaniel, like I think this is a good hire. I think that they get a really good offensive system out of it, but. You're the one that, I mean, you see them twice a year. You have that hatred towards the Eagles. How does this make you feel? Does it make you more afraid, less afraid, indifferent? Like, do you think they're better with him?
Without knowing Sean Mannion's system whatsoever, it's
going to be McVay O'Connell.
Oh, right. Okay. So that's obviously the system to go for. So that's terrible. But it's with the rejection. I'm wondering if people are kind of positioning themselves for the head coaching job in Philly. Like if Nick Sirianni has another poor season, like it's difficult to see him there next year. Obviously, a poor season for the Philadelphia Eagles obviously is making the playoffs with double-digit wins. But with all the noise that comes out with Nick Sirianni there, I think people didn't really want to attach their wagon to Nick Sirianni, which I kind of get with the current system and how like kind of It is. I like it for the Eagles that they've gone for a new hire, like a new name. And I think Sean Mannion as a quarterback was like a guy that was clearly a coach in the room. And if you're taking the Kellen Moore path, that works with me. So I think it's a good hire for them. I agree. And I think, the Eagles with Vic Fangio on one side of the ball, like Nick Sirianni is also like an offensive guy. So it's not a totally new thing for Sean Mannion. Like at least he's got Sirianni to kind of like back him up a little bit as well. So I think it's a good move for the Eagles. So they needed some fresh blood in there. I think he can't do any worse than what they had going on this year. So I guess a little more scared, but well, it's a shame.
It was the first person Kevin O'Connell brought over as a free agent to teach Kirk Cousins the system. So I think that's probably a good sign. And as speaking of the Vikings, to answer One Ton Tomatoes question, I was good either way, to be honest. We had talked about this in previous shows. If they kept Sam Darnold, I get it. But they had a plan when they took the job. They were going to find a rookie quarterback. They were going to try to use this rookie contract to get them somewhere. They did great with the free agency. I think Kwesi's had some questionable draft picks, but I think he really shined in the free agency market of young, cheaper guys who turn out to be great, as in Jonathan Grenard and Van Ginkel. I can keep going on, but Cashman. But it's one of those things you look now and you're like, well, maybe they should have fucking kept Sam Darnold. But it all really depends on what J.J. McCarthy becomes. So I was good either way. I understood the decision and I wasn't mad. And I was actually leaning to keeping McCarthy over Sam Darnold because of the cost. But Sam Darnold proved that he's balling, and it might go down as one of the biggest mistakes the Vikings have made. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, possibly. I think it was like all the right processes, so you can't really beat yourself up too much about it. And both of us, Jay, think that on average, our takes on JJ McCarthy are far more positive than the average commentators on JJ McCarthy. So maybe we're seeing things that just other people aren't in JJ McCarthy. But I like JJ McCarthy. I think he's going to be pretty good next year. And I think it's because next year is the prove it year for him. He's not going to have games off with injury that, like
O'Connell was resting him because he didn't want him to be over his head while he was injured, and he'd play through some of them. Yeah, I get that.
And also just a reminder that the Vikings finished with a winning record, considering they didn't have half their offensive line for
5-game winning streak.
Season. Like finished with a 5-game win streak.
McCarthy went out on a 5-game win streak. Like, think about that. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, and also he beat the current Super Bowl contenders in a fourth quarter comeback on the first game of the season as well. I think JJ McCarthy's probably a bit better than people are giving them credit for as well. So that's important in the.
It's weird though. We don't let players develop in the NFL anymore, and it's not just quarterbacks. It's like there's very little development. Yeah, and it's kind of sad because Kevin O'Connell once said his first season he thinks more, and I've said this before. He was even the coach. Me and Maddie have talked about this. He believes more teams ruin quarterbacks than develop them.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's why I was saying what I tried to say. I just didn't get it out very eloquently about the rising star game for the Pro Bowlers. It's like that, there's no development process. It's like, if you don't make it within the first 3 years out of college, then you're shit. Well, it's like, well, hang on. and I think we're seeing an improvement at that because people are staying in college longer because of NIL money. We'll see an improvement in you'll have a higher standard of quarterback just coming out generally because they've had more development time in college. But the NFL needs some sort of developmental process where there's a way to get game time for people who need that time to develop and all of that kind of stuff. Like your backup quarterback goes and plays like an NBA style G League game, once every 2 weeks. There's like a development league going on, and your third string quarterback goes and plays in that as well as being your third string quarterback. And those guys.
And NIL money helps for guys like Dante Moore, who is like, hell no, I don't want to play for the Jets.
Yeah, please don't make me play for that. The issue is the Jets. The issue is though, that's assuming the Jets aren't going to be the first overall pick next year.
Yeah, but maybe then he's like, well, Arch Manning might go ahead of me.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. I just need to make sure I play only slightly worse than Arch Manning next year. That's what he needs to do. Okay, Jay, let's move on to our awards then. We're going to do our NFL MVP, our head coach of the year, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, rookie offensive player of the year, and rookie defensive player of the year. So, Jay, let's start out with our NFL MVP.
For me, hands down, Drake Maye, but I think he's going to get robbed, and I think they're going to give it to Matthew Stafford.
I think Stafford's going to get it as well, but I think Drake Maye is the MVP of the league. Definitely. I think, when you take a team from how many games did they win last year? Like 4 wins. And then like next year. And in that season, he was their only bright spark in that season last year. And then they go to the Super Bowl. I think you've clearly made a big difference there. I think he's had lots of big games. And also, I think Matthew Stafford has had enough games where he was really poor in some losses that they shouldn't have had to make me go, like, you disappeared in those games. Like, where were you? Okay. So, yeah. So there's our NFL MVP. That's who we picked. Drake Maye. Jay, head coach of the year for you.
I mean, I hate to do it, but it's Vrabel. He comes in, takes the job, turns it around, takes him to the Super Bowl. I mean, hands down, to me, it's Vrabel. I hate to just pile on a bunch of awards to the Patriots, but it's Vrabel.
I think with the awards, they're meant to be regular season. And even at the start of the season, if you said Patriots make the playoffs and they're the number 2 seed, it's like, okay. So like, even if you take the Super Bowl away, it's still a crazy achievement. Anyway, right? Like, so Maddie,
who's your pick?
Yeah. So my pick, Mike McDonald.
I had to hit the drum roll.
The Seattle Seahawks. So head coach of the Seattle Seahawks for me, I think like one of the best young coordinators. Like, I think the Seahawks have been one of the most underrated teams in the league all year. They play great all-round football on both sides of the ball. And I think they're superbly well coached, and he outcoached Sean McVay in the last game as well. There's a few names.
I knew that's who you were picking, by the way.
Yeah,
I could have called that for you.
No surprise. I think, like, there's a couple in there, though, that have a case, right? Like Kyle Shanahan. Like, Kyle Shanahan has a case to have been coach of the year just because of how, like, the devastation that's happened to the 49ers team in terms of injuries all season. Like, Shanahan surely is in the mix. Like, who else is in the mix there for you?
For coach of the year?
Yeah.
I mean, Harbaugh's done pretty good with what he's had, done a ton of injuries. Ben Johnson has to be in that fucking
Ben Johnson. Yeah. I was thinking that was another name. Yeah. Shane Steichen until, like, that complete fall off, like, once Daniel Jones.
That was Daniel Jones. Like, you lose your quarterback, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like Shane Steichen has like the ability there, but you give it to the guys who come out with amazing records as well. The games have to mean something. Jay, your offensive player of the year this year.
So, as some of you know, and I don't know if all of you know, the reason Maddie loves the Seahawks so much is because he wants to be proven right so bad on Sam Darnold since he left the Jets. But for me, my offensive player of the year is Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Jay, my offensive player of the year is also Jackson Smith and Jigba in this one as well. I think, like, just the breakout that he had this year, the Seahawks made big moves. They got rid of DK Metcalf. They got rid of Tyler Lockett, and it's all because they saw how good Jackson Smith and Jigba was about to be. And he makes Sam Darnold look good, right?
I almost went with Christian McCaffrey just because he is the whole offense of the 49ers. But I was like, JSN has had a great year. So I'm going to go with JSN.
Yeah, I almost went for Christian McCaffrey as well for the same reason. So it's like, JSN has just been statistically amazing and looks great in that Seahawks offense. But CMC was the 49ers offense. Like, he was the 49ers offense, like when they were playing. What is it? He like broke the records for most targets and stuff. Jay, defensive player of the year for you?
I mean, it's Myles Garrett, right? He broke the sack record on the best defense in the NFL. Like, I don't know how you pick anybody but Myles Garrett.
Yeah, one of the biggest slam dunks of all time, right? Like in the defensive player of the year, like Myles Garrett breaks the sack record. It's got to be Myles Garrett. Shout out to guys like, like Christian Gonzalez. Like if he played a whole season for the Patriots, like he's been locking down absolutely everybody, like for the whole year, but you don't give it to a cornerback. Or like shout out to like Nick Benito and Will Anderson and those guys as well. But it's Myles Garrett. Like he was incredible all year. Go on then, Jay. Let's move on to our rookies now. Jay, rookie offensive player of the year.
All right. It's Trayvon Henderson for me. Two-headed backfield. Still ends up with 911 yards rushing, 180 carries, 9 touchdowns. Had over 5 yards per carry average. Had 36 receptions for 221 yards. I think he's the offensive rookie of the year for me.
Jay, I agree with you. I've also gone for Trayvon Henderson for offensive rookie of the year. I think once the Patriots brought him in and gave him the chance, that all Patriots fans, to be fair, like Patriots fans, very knowledgeable football fans, clearly, they were all saying, bring in Trayvon Henderson, like give him more time. And as soon as they did that, that's when the Patriots offense went to another level. It immediately brought that balance for Drake Maye that was missing. There are lots of names here though for offensive rookie of the year that we could have gone for. It's just a coincidence that we both picked the same guy. Like Tetero McMillan, Emeka Ibuka at the start of the season, he fell off a little bit after his injury.
See, I would have if it wasn't for the injury. Thought of him, like put him in there. I thought of him, but I'm like, yeah, you missed way too much time.
Yeah, and then like you've got the quarterbacks, right? Like Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart was great for like big parts of the season, but then has spent so much time injured as well. And Tyler Shook, who I thought was going to be nothing, has come out and looked incredible as well for the New Orleans Saints. And he could have got in, but he only played half the season really as well.
Not enough wins.
Yeah, the wins is like difficult, And then Jay, let's finish off with our defensive rookie of the year. Who you got?
So I'm going with Abdul Carter. He had 23 quarterback hits, most by any defensive rookie. He finished with 72 total quarterback pressures. He ranked 7th in the entire NFL. And his average time to pressure and quick pressure numbers were the best in the league.
Yeah, and I think with Abdul Carter, I think he totally went under the radar this season. Like I saw people like in parts of the season like saying, is Abdul Carter a bust? And I was like, what? Like, how have you just not been watching? Like what? Because his sack numbers aren't amazing. And his sack numbers are like,
I mean, he had 4 sacks, but he had 42 solo tackles, 7 for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries too.
Yeah, he also moves along that. He also moves along that defensive line a lot as well for like a rookie. So I saw Abdul Carter and thought maybe, but Jay, there is only one guy for me. I've been saying it like the entire year. Nico Mamwari for me is the defensive rookie of the year. I thought he was. I think he's incredible. Like he looks just like an even bigger like Carl Hamilton as well. He's played so far this season. He's played 48% of his snaps at strong safety. He's played 26% of his snaps at nickel and slot defenders. He's played 18% of free safety, and he's played 8% in the box at linebacker as well as having a couple of plays where he's lined up at the end. Like that versatility as a rookie is incredible, and he allows the Seahawks to do whatever the hell they want in a defensive game. He's the chess piece that Mike McDonald's been using all year. And whenever you watch the Seahawks defense, he's the one that pops off the screen for me as well. So Nico Mamwari for me.
And for the fact that nobody hired Brian Flores when he created that position with Metellus. He created that guy who moves, even to linebacker and nickel from safety. Is crazy to me, but thank you all for being dumb.
Yeah, the fact that no one's hired Brian Flores is just amazing.
I think Mike Patton gave him the kiss of death, and I love Mike Patton for it by saying, I'm going to take the high road. We didn't agree on much. I'm like, thank you. Shit on Flores so he doesn't get a job. Thank you. Thank you, Patton. You're just mad because the Vikings pushed you out because Flores doesn't like you, but still, thank you.
Yeah, so guys, let us know what you think of our awards in the comments as well. Make sure
Josh loves them because I gave up 3 awards to Pats.
I know I gave up 3 to I gave up 3 to the Seahawks as well, and it's meant to be about regular season. But for me, like all this talk about they're the most undeserving Super Bowl champion contenders, I'm like, they were 2 of the best all-round teams. What? Because they don't have like all the stars that you expect them to have. Like genuinely, Jackson Smith and Jigba had one of the best wide receiver seasons we've ever seen. Like it was incredible, like out of nowhere, incredible as well.
Yeah, and you guys will have to tune in next week to see who Maddie picks for the Super Bowl. Wait, I mean to see who I pick for the Super Bowl, because I think we already know where Maddie's going, but we'll give him a week to figure it out.
Just glazing the Seahawks basically from like week 7. Like, you know. Jay, send us out like you always do, mate.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all your support. We love you guys in the comments. It makes the show so much fun. So please keep coming back. Keep jumping in the comments. And to do that, all you got to do is hit the subscribe, hit that notification button. You'll get notified for every show. And we got 7 shows on the channel, so you don't want to miss out on any of that. And make sure y'all tap in Friday for the playlist. See what Payne and I got cooking up this week. All right, guys. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.